Hey everybody, what's going on? It is Rick, and I'm here with the final part of June Reviews, Week 4. 8 movies to talk about, 4 on physical, 4 that I watched either online or in theaters, so let's dive right in. The first thing we're going to talk about is Minari. So Minari was an A24 film that released in theaters, was nominated for a bunch of awards. Steven Yeun was praised for his performance. So it was on my radar for quite some time. Was waiting for a price drop, which actually I was online last night. I'm recording this July 24th. Just went down to $7.99. So if it had done that like a month ago, I would have bought it, blind bought it. But I had a bunch of credit on Amazon because I do like no rush deliveries and build that up and you get streaming credit. So rented Minari. Watched it. I think we paid like 99 cents to rent it and watch it. And the movie is very well done. It tells the story of an immigrant family, and the husband, who's played by Steven Yeun, has a dream of starting a farm with his family, for his family. And it's about the struggle. It takes place, I believe, in the 1980s, early 1980s, if I'm not mistaken. The family, it's the husband and wife, and then they have 2 kids, a son and a daughter. In my opinion, the 2 characters that steal this film are the son, and when the grandmom is introduced, the little boy and the grandmom have such a great relationship in the movie. The chemistry is great. The movie is full of hope and heartbreak and humor and just realness, and it was very well done. Great performances throughout. The movie looks beautiful. Like I said, David, the young boy, was really good in the movie. Steven Yeun is really good. The wife is good. It's just a bunch of great performances. It tells a very good story, a well done story, and I really liked it. Is it a movie that I could see going back multiple times and watching? Probably not, but still an enjoyable movie nonetheless. I give it a 4 out of 5. I enjoyed it quite a bit. So if you have not done so, please check out Minari. It's a great film. Probably one of the better A24 movies that I've seen in a little while. So definitely do yourselves a favor. Check it out. Next up, we rewatched an absolute classic, and this time on beautiful 4K. I'm sure you guys saw the video where I talked about this when I received it. And that is Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, the 50th anniversary edition here on 4K, beautiful 4K, and this 4K is absolutely stunning. The transfer is well done, a cult classic 50 years later, full with catchy songs, and of course a fantastic performance from, there we go, Gene Wilder as Willy Wonka. So my major gripe with this movie, and I got into this in my review video, is with the character of Grandpa Joe. They talk about how he's been in bed for decades, and all of a sudden Charlie wins the golden ticket, and then he gets out of bed and starts dancing, and he can walk around, and then he convinces Charlie to do stuff he shouldn't. Grandpa Joe is really not a great person. And as an adult, I realized this, and I actually got into like a bit of an argument with somebody because they left a comment, but they talk about how Grandpa Joe's been bedridden. He's spending money on tobacco. Like, they're all sharing a bed. Charlie's sleeping in a closet. The mom's working all the time. Grandpa Joe, how does he go out and get a chocolate bar? Why is he still using tobacco? He's bedridden. How's he been bedridden for so long? He's not even that old in the movie. He's probably in his 60s, so he's been bedridden since he was in his 20s or 30s. Things don't add up, but once again, this is a family film, so that's just me being a grown-up thinking about how crummy Grandpa Joe is. And I really do believe that Grandpa Joe is not a good character. But nonetheless, the movie's incredibly entertaining. Great music. The movie is beautiful on 4K, looks stunning. The colors just pop on this. And it is a good story based on the book, obviously, of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Not a fan of the Johnny Depp version, although I'm not a fan of Johnny Depp for the most part. Wasn't a fan of that, especially when you compare it to this. I am curious because they're doing a prequel to this called Wonka, where Timothy Olyphant, no, not Timothy Olyphant, that was a stupid name to pull. Timothy Chalamet is going to play a young Willy Wonka. I'm very intrigued. I love Timothy Chalamet. I'm curious to see about Willy Wonka's upbringing. And yeah, so Willy Wonka is a 4 out of 5 star movie for me. A family classic, a cult classic. Next up, I watched a film that you might be able to see right there on my shelf. And you're going to say, well, if it's on your shelf, how are you holding it in your hand? And that's because I bought 2 copies, because I'm crazy. I bought a copy to keep sealed because it's something very special to me, and that is Movie Hoarders from VHS to DVD and beyond. And this was a film that I got to be a part of. I was invited to be a part of this movie. It features a bunch of my friends, a bunch of other people in the YouTube community are part of this. The filmmaker, Tony Newton, is featured and is produced by Sean Phillips. Cool Duder himself, Chauncey, if you will. But also my good buddy Dave from Cinema Sickness. My friends Joe and Marie from the Martinez Joe 74 channel. Durant Cinema is involved with this. Who else is in it? Man, there's too many to list. Films at Home. Oh, man. I knew I was going to blank. That's why I didn't want to name drop. But a lot of my close friends, people that I didn't know about in the community, that I've now subscribed to their channels to check out their videos. And the outpour of support for this movie was insane. A bunch of people on Instagram asking me where to buy it and showing off their copies, tagging me in it. It was a passion project for everybody involved. Why physical media was so important to them, why it is so important to them, and to get to be a part of this. This is a movie I'm not putting a rating on. I said that in my Letterboxd review. I'm not going to put a rating on it. I'm a part of it. It feels weird to rate something that you're in, even though this is the only thing I've ever been in. But you know, the movie is just, it's for movie collectors, by movie collectors, and it's just so cool. This movie is like sold out everywhere. Last I checked, sold out on Amazon, Best Buy, Barnes & Noble had it, sold out there. Grindhouse that had it initially, sold out there. I think MVD that had it initially, because it was a Filmlandia project, it's not there. Like, it is very hard to come by. This probably is going to end up going out of print. I actually saw somebody, because they couldn't get their hands on it, had to rent this digitally, which is weird because it's meant to be a physical movie. But they rented it digitally on Vudu just so they could see the movie and support the film. So, yeah, Movie Hoarders from VHS to DVD and beyond. It's crazy that I'm in a documentary and my friends are in a documentary together about the love of movies. So if you guys can get your hands on this, do yourselves a favor, check it out, especially if you love, you know, my channel, Dave's channel, Joe Marie's channel, anybody I mentioned, Cool Duder, Sean. So yeah, it was awesome to get to be a part of this. I will say it does lean towards like horror fans, which is fine in parts. Talks about all the different formats, video stores, nostalgia, censorship of streaming services, and you know how streaming services can take away titles. They can take things out of the movies and re-release them on physical. So yeah, it is just, like I said, a passion project for horror, for movie fans from movie fans, and Movie Hoarders from VHS to DVD and beyond. Check it out. So next up, we went and saw F9 in IMAX. So I've gone to a handful of movies since we've gone back the end of May, and F9 was one I really wanted to see. I felt bad because we went out to a very nice dinner for our anniversary, and then we went and saw F9, which Bridget really didn't have a ton of interest in, but she was like, I'll go see the movie. Like, we decided to splurge and pay for the IMAX ticket, even though we're Regal Unlimited members, so it didn't cost like the full price. But so this movie is just over the top crazy. The first 4 Fast and Furious movies were pretty grounded. Well, I haven't seen the third one, but 1, 2, and 4 were pretty grounded. And then when The Rock's character got introduced in 5, they became a little less grounded, and they basically have become these over-the-top, how big can we make this movie? How crazy can the stunt be? What crazy thing can we happen? But as over-the-top as it is, it's still a fun movie. I mean, I'm sure now when you guys are watching this, we're months removed from it. I'm sure people have heard about Cars in Space. The rumors of Fast and Furious crossing over with Jurassic Park, Jurassic World, which I can definitely see happening in the near future. But the movie is so much fun. If you go in expecting an Oscar quality movie, you're there for the wrong reasons. If you're there to unplug your brain and watch a big budget popcorn movie with funny jokes and bantering between family, you're going to have a good time. Tyrese and Ludacris are awesome in this together. John Cena is like a comic book villain come to life in this movie. The weakest part of this movie was all the flashback footage that they did, but they did that to establish a lot of what went on in this movie, because John Cena is Vin Diesel's brother, and that seemed out of left field, but they explained the background of that. So there's supposed to be 2 more movies left in the franchise, 10 and 11. There may be another Hobbs and Shaw movie, because The Rock has come out and said he will not be in Fast and Furious 10 and 11, which I personally don't believe. Rumors are a Fast and Furious Jurassic World crossover, which after what happened in this movie, I could see that happening. I was thoroughly entertained. I give it a 3.5 out of 5. It was a fun movie. Is it good? No. Is it fun? Absolutely. So 3.5 out of 5. I know it's probably a little biased, but I just had a lot of fun. I was laughing. I was shaking my head. F9, if you like Fast 5 through Fate of the Furious 7, F6, Fast Furious 9. If you liked 5 through 8, you're going to like 9. F9, 3.5. So, next up, so I got this from deep discount recently, a Kino Lorber film. This is a movie that I have never seen the full thing of, and it absolutely floored Bridget that I had never seen this movie, because you guys know I love comedy movies. I've watched more comedy movies than any other genre in my life. There's terrible, obscure comedy movies that I've seen, and I haven't watched mainstream stuff like Casablanca. So when she heard that I had not seen this movie, she was like, "That we have to watch that. That's nuts." And I was going to get it. It came to Blu-ray finally, and that is Half-Baked with Dave Chappelle, of course, Jim Brewer, Harlan Williams, Guillermo Diaz. Other names are in this movie. Lots of cameos. Tracy Morgan, Bob Saget, Snoop Dogg, Cheech. No, not Cheech. Chong. Just a lot of familiar faces. So I'd never seen this movie, but as we watched it, I've definitely seen clips of it. I think I had seen parts of it on Comedy Central back in the day, but had never seen the full movie from start to finish, uncensored on regular, like a Blu-ray or DVD or VHS tape. Lots of quotes in the movie I was familiar with, particularly one where the F word's involved and then they say they're out. We'll leave it at that. And the movie's funny. The quotes are pretty good as well. And the cameos in the movie are pretty epic. And Dave Chappelle is awesome as the lead. Jim Brewer and Harlan Williams are really good. Stephen Wright is the guy on the couch. Just a fun stoner comedy. I give it a 3.5 out of 5. Half-Baked. Glad I've finally seen the entire movie now. And obviously it's staying in the collection. Like I said, a Kino Lorber release. So Half-Baked. I enjoyed it. Next up, we checked out a movie on Netflix that I was pretty curious to check out, and I heard really good things about it. And that is Fatherhood on Netflix, which stars Kevin Hart. So it was interesting because it was being was being promoted as a comedy, but you could definitely tell there were serious drama vibes going on, especially what the movie's about. So basically, Kevin Hart and his wife are having a baby. They have their baby. The baby's happy and healthy. And then the mom suddenly? Why am I saying suddenly? Suddenly dies. The mom passes away like a day or two after the baby's born. And there's some flashbacks in the beginning because the movie starts and he's at his wife's funeral and talks about what happens. And he basically has to be a single father. Not only being a single father, which is an overwhelming thing, but having lost the love of his life, his wife, with obviously a new love of his life, his daughter in the movie, being brought into his life, but being absolutely crippled from the thought of, losing that person that you're married to, that you are planning to spend the rest of your life with, that you're going to raise a family with. And it pulled at the heartstrings. This is a dramedy for sure. There are very upsetting parts. I got teary-eyed in parts. Then there were also scenes where I was cracking up laughing. There's a scene in particular where he goes to a mommy help class and he describes the baby's pooping and then the baby's crying. I was in tears at that scene. I thought it was hilarious. He has two friends, Lil Rel and Anthony Kerrigan. I wrote his name down. I'm learning finally. Anthony Kerrigan was in Bill and Ted Face the Music, but I know him mostly from Barry. He's fantastic in Barry. And I got serious like Three Men and a Baby vibes when the three of them were on screen together. And I wanted more of that. There's lots of stuff with his mother-in-law and how she's, worried about him raising the baby on his own. Doesn't really trust him. Later on in the movie, there's dating stuff. But like I said, the movie has a great mix of pulling at the heartstrings, but also heartwarming and comedic things. And I just thought it was really well executed. Kevin Hart did a great job. It's the second time I've seen Kevin Hart in a dramatic comedy, and that movie was funny in parts too. And that was The Upside, which, if you haven't seen, stars Bryan Cranston as well as Kevin Hart. It's about a man who's paraplegic, quadriplegic. He's one of those. I'm sorry. He's confined to a wheelchair. Kevin Hart becomes his caretaker, and they have funny banters back and forth, but it's also dramatic and sad in parts. So The Upside is fantastic. If you haven't seen it, check it out. Fatherhood is also really, really well done. I give it a 3.5 out of 5. I enjoyed that quite a bit. Then I enjoyed it more so than this next movie that we watched on Netflix, and that was Good on Paper. A lot of you guys probably have not even heard of Good on Paper. Here's the poster right here. It's probably right here as I'm talking about it. You can't see my hand, but I'm going to do this. So, Good on Paper stars Eliza Schlesinger, who's a stand-up comic. You guys know I'm a sucker for stand-up comedy. And this movie is basically, it's advertised as loosely based on a true story. Eliza plays a comedian who gets involved with a man. Everything seems a little off, like the guy's pretending to be something he's not. Excuse me. I can't think of the actor's name who plays the love interest. I did not put it down here. He was on Party Down. I'm not going to be able to pull his name. He's probably here on the poster that's next to me or was next to me. So it's a romantic comedy. I didn't really find it to be that funny. I found it actually to be kind of off-putting and annoying. Bridget said she thought it was decent. I wasn't a huge fan of the movie. It almost came up, it was definitely meant to be like a romantic comedy, and I just got more of like a romantic film. Like there wasn't a lot of comedic vibes for me, which is bad when your star is a stand-up comedian and her romantic lead is also a comedic actor that's been in stuff that's funny. So, yeah, I guess I wasn't the target audience for Good on Paper. I think I was really kind with my grade too, because it was lower. I give it a 2 out of 5. Wasn't for me. Not saying you guys won't like it, because like I said, Bridget enjoyed it more than I did. So, yeah. check out Good on Paper if that sounds interesting to you. And then the last thing we watched in June, which I've been wanted to see it in the movies and didn't get a chance, is Nobody, starring Bob Odenkirk, from the producers of John Wick. I believe the producer, definitely from the writer of John Wick. I think it's from the producers as well. But it's about a guy, Hutch, who his house is broken into. Well, he's living a mundane life. Everything's the same. His wife's upset with him for not taking out the trash on time. He goes to work and he's bored at work. One night his house is broken into by two people. He doesn't do anything. His son ends up getting punched in the face. He lets them get away. And it kind of flips a switch and you find out that Hutch might have been somebody different than you initially thought he was. And it is a fun movie. Christopher Lloyd plays his dad in this movie, steals the film every time he's in a scene. He's in a nursing home, and he's good. It's very gory. There's some scenes that are pretty fringy and violent, but if you don't like gory violence, you're not going to like scenes in this movie. But this was a really fun watch. You guys haven't even seen me show this off in a video. It'll be in my next video where I do my Facebook pickups. But yeah, it was fun. Like I said, he's an accountant for his father-in-law's business, and everything isn't what it seems to be. And I wish there was more humor in it, but the movie does well at being an action film without forcing the comedy route too much. But I give it a 3.5 out of 5. I enjoyed Nobody. I would definitely recommend it. It's definitely staying on the shelf. Hope to see more from this filmmaker and from the series. That would be great. So that is it for June, guys. 22 films watched in all. My surprise of the month is Plan B. Plan B, I talked about, I really enjoyed it. It is a Hulu exclusive film about two friends who party and something happens accidentally and they need to search for a special pill to help with that. And lots of laughs, a very good friendship film, and one I highly recommend. Like I said, check out Plan B on Hulu if you have access to it. I think you'll really enjoy it if you like funny R-rated raunchy comedies. And also, the hot trash of the month is Gemini Man. So Gemini Man was just a big disappointment to me. Probably one of the best looking 4Ks I've ever seen. But that's where the praise stops for that film, because I was not a fan of the movie itself. Ang Lee directed Will Smith in this futuristic clone movie and just did not do it for me. I can't even hold up the 4K of it because I no longer have it, because it just wasn't good for me. So that is it, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Hopefully you enjoyed these review videos. If you do, give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe if you don't do so already, and hit that bell notification so you guys know when new videos drop on the channel. Also, check out the description box down below where you can find links to my P.O. Box. Not links to my P.O. Box. You can find my P.O. Box email address down below. Amazon wishlist, Blu-ray.com profile, eBay store, all can be found down below, as well as my Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and my letterbox where I rate and review all the movies I talk about and watch. So I do lists on there. I follow people back. So check me out on Letterboxd. Check out RJ on Letterboxd, Down to Movie Mini. And that is it, guys. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. Until next time, who's down to movie?